Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I love to have you. So, I flopped and I messed up the recording of the last reaction I did to this. I cannot do it again. So, I'm sorry. So, we're just going to continue on. It was quite a lengthy segment that I did too, which is especially soul crushing, but it's especially why I can't do it again. They basically just talked about growing up fat and that kind of thing. It's nothing we haven't heard before, I'll put it to you that way. So if you want to see it, you can yourself, but I'm not doing it. I can't do it. We're going to continue on. And I'm going to try not to let my soul die as I react to this time.
Directed by this person because that nigga was musty, but I
thought that nigga was so fine. There was a time.
he was very nice.
Okay, so for context, I think they were talking about like if they've ever overcompensated or if they've, for being fat in high school or something like that. And basically, she definitely did. So she did like all these extracurricular activities. She was on like tons of different clubs and all that kind of stuff. Like she was doing multiple sports things at the same time. Like I don't remember. I don't know if she did as much because I don't remember. So, but with her, I was like, yeah, she definitely did.
To me for like a couple days maybe, and I remember talking to Byron.
I want him to fuck me. Y'all don't even know who that is.
I remember we was talking
Byron,
because me and Byron was hella close. Shout out to Byron, I love you to this day. I hope you're doing well, my nigga. And he was like, yeah, he said that you were ugly, and I was like, I remember thinking to myself, nigga, no, I'm not, and being like, that was because he didn't want to say fat. He said ugly, because obviously that's not the truth. You know what I mean? Like.
Y'all see the mug? And it ain't changed, but the same mug.
Tell us about emotions that you felt with the realization that shrinking your personality and trying to adapt yourself for other people's comfortability helps with surviving in society. Like, how did you feel when you realized I have to do this in order to make this life easier on me?
I don't think I've ever thought about this question until now, if I'll be honest. I think for me, I think it was a neutral thought, if I'll be for real. It was kind of like, okay, I have a tool in my tool belt now to survive. I don't think I thought about it as like a hugely negative thing, because it was just like whatever I can do to just like get attention off of me, if I'll be honest. Yeah, where like now it is... I think it's something that I'm actively trying to like stop myself from doing. Like I tried to like take up space unapologetically and like all that type of shit. Or beforehand I was like, to make sure that I don't have to have negative attention, I'll just assimilate essentially. So I don't think I ever thought about it as a negative thing, or like even have a specific situation that like made me, that sticks out right now that I could say to relate to that. What about you?
I feel like I might not be able to come up with a particular situation, but I can like feel emotion around that sense of being like, damn, I can't just be myself. Myself is not good enough.
Yeah.
And I have to scale back myself in order to be digestible for other people. When you think that something
The other thing is she said her mom was a narcissist. So I don't know if I caught that in the other one, like the other reactions I've done, but she said that her mom was. So she's kind of a little bit, like she's super, super accommodating. So she tries to be like super accommodating, or at least in her mind, within her perception. So that's kind of, like they talked about like being super accommodating is like getting out of the way, like, or not letting your fatness get in the way of other people, very basic stuff. Like it wasn't like, so to me, I don't see that as necessarily accommodating, but I just had to share that detail with you guys because, yeah, we're trying to get to know them. So
is wrong with your body, and then you also think, well, I can't be myself because my body, so then you think something is wrong with your personality. And I feel like a lot of my personal insecurity growing up, body, overcoming that, really doing the work with that, a lot of my insecurity has been in my personality, because I feel like nobody cares to look past my body to get to that
Yeah,
part
it's like
of
no
me.
one takes you serious.
Yeah.
Like that, honestly, when you were talking about that, that's what I was thinking of. Like, I will say I felt like in certain situations I've had to maybe overcompensate or over explain because I didn't feel like someone took me serious. Even, okay, even as recently as talking about this podcast,
Yeah.
I think I shared beforehand how I was sharing that I was talking to a client and they were like, "Oh, you're using the word fat," like yada yada yada. That client recently came in. Actually, we were talking about it again, and I was sharing the success that we've been having, and it was kind of like the pure surprise in their face when I was explaining those things to them of just like, "Oh wow!" Like it's actually like I just don't think people take fat people serious. I don't
Oh
think
no.
people think that our issues are serious enough to act.
So I do think that there is an element of not taking fat people seriously. I do think that that exists for sure. I'm sure that there can be different intersections to that, different other aspects that will make that better or worse, basically, depending on the person. But fatness as a lens definitely does make people take you less seriously. It's one of the most universal things that people talk about when they talk about downsizing and they talk about being treated better. So I also can confirm people do take you more seriously. People definitely see you as knowing more of what you're talking about in general. Like there's the thin privilege is like it's a credibility factor. There's a little bit more of a credibility to a certain extent. Now, there can be with other things like where you can lose credibility, like obviously with being fat or whatever, people act like you were never fat if you've lost weight, which is really bizarre. But that's usually only within a zombie context. I think most general people, the Gen Pop, they can see that you used to be really big and that you had downsized. So there's more of a credibility to that conversation even too. But I think in general, again, what you're actually going to get from thin privilege, quote unquote, TM, is people do take you more seriously, or there's like more credibility to what you say, and there's more, you're more visible. So it's really about visibility and credibility. But again, what are you going to do with that? So if you flop, still you can flop. If you still talk and you're full of shit, then people aren't going to care what you have to say still. Like you have to actually be saying things that make sense. But even if you're fat and you're saying smart things or you're saying things that make sense, there will still be a little bit of a ding to that credibility. That's true. So it's a little bit of a bias. And I don't know why that is. I wonder if I wouldn't even be shocked if it's like a visceral or subconscious association with the toxic ritualistic, which on this channel I call the toxic, like I call E followed by the letter D, the toxic ritualistic. But especially if you're very big, a lot of people have those issues. So people may not know what they are. They just see like, oh, this person lacks empathy. This person lacks perspective. This person is in loops all the time and they do the same thing over and over again. This person is this, this person's over emotional or has weird emotional responses at times where they'll be numb in some circumstances, but extremely reactive in others. And, like people kind of pick up on these things. And I wonder if there is a stereotype that exists because of just the constant association with the toxic ritualistic with somebody that is that big, which I know that's a really weird, complicated thing to say, but it would kind of be like if a certain demographic of people had the exact same mental illness all the time. People would eventually categorize people, whether that's right or wrong, it would happen. And within fatness, it is a pathology, especially at severe levels. It is a mental pathology too. Even if you don't have the toxic ritualistic, which is incredibly rare if you're very, very big, it's very rare to not, I would say, unless if you have multiple other hormonal disorders like PCOS, hypothyroidism, like just so many things, basically, that would lead somebody to that alone. you're going to probably have this mental health issue. And so people will associate it. And even if you just have PCOS and hypothyroidism and all that stuff, those hormonal issues also can make your emotions dysregulated. I'll put it to you that way. So even people that aren't technically in it may still have issues. So basically what I'm saying is it is a sign of being very unwell. And I wonder if that's why there's less credibility, because it's not just physically unwell, it's also mentally. And people, they observe it all the time. It's like you see it. It's because it's every time. There'll be somebody who's like, no, like I'm huge and I'm fine and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but you're not. Like, that's not true. You're not fine. That's a lie. And I think it also comes down to toxic ritualistic deception and lies, the constant gaslighting, the constant lying, the secrets that are very obviously untrue. Like, I don't even know how I got to be this big, or, I barely have anything to consume, I barely this, I barely that. Like, that's also going to have associations with that demographic of size that are going to reduce credibility too. So I think there's just a lot of layers to it. And again, I'm just talking about general public. The general public will still view it that way. And it's kind of inevitable, because in order to be that big, you have to have something seriously wrong. And people don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to admit that there's this folklore that you can be totally healthy and 350 pounds. It's just not real, It just isn't. And if you try to reach for that, you're going to break your back trying to reach for it.
To care about or bring up in the first place. So
is this person standard size?
This person is an elderly, not elder, I don't want to say elderly, but she's an older black woman that is like an AKA educated. She comes from a very conservative mindset, in my opinion. So I just don't think she's someone that would ever get it. Yeah. And I don't take offense to it, really. But I'm gonna keep talking my shit. Yeah. But I'm gonna keep talking my shit.
The people that get it, and if you don't, you fucking don't, and I don't give a fuck.
And truly,
that's your problem.
People like that, though, they're the ones that I feel like.
Okay, well, whatever. I'm fine with them being floptivists, but that's a very floptivist take to say out loud. I understand being frustrated at people not getting what you're saying, but also, if you're an activist, your job is to convince. So it's kind of like, it's a give or take. You have to challenge and you have to convince, right? Those are the two functions of the job. That's hard to do. It's hard to do it with grace. It's hard to do it with patience. But it's also like, to just say, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. It's like, okay. I don't know. I don't know what that does, It's fine. I hope they keep saying that, because then they're not going to succeed. And I don't want them to, again. Like, as far as fat acceptance and all that, I'm an antagonist. So, completely. So it's like, I'm glad. And I can even say this because I know they'll continue to do that. Because they're not, when you're in the TR that much, you're not all there. So it's like, you can even say something and they won't be able to strategize as well. Because again, people are mentally ill with this issue. And for some reason, we in society have forgotten that, or just don't consider that at all. And I will keep saying the point. People project sanity onto people in the TR all the time. It's not there. So they might not be completely insane. They might not be completely this, completely that. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying there's still going to be limits. There are cognitive limits when you are that big. It affects your brain. People don't want to hear that either, but it's true. Lo and behold, you will have problems if you are that big. It is what it is. You cannot change the physical reality of what that state of obesity does to you and to your brain. So that's why I say that. It's like, I can literally say, yeah, that's a really bad activist take. They'll never take the criticism. They'd never take the feedback. They'd never get better. Just like with Allie from the Fab Fatties, I totally critiqued her activism. I critiqued everything. And she never was going to take any feedback at all. She's the same. It doesn't ever change. But it's in part because when you are that big, your brain becomes very like fixed. And people don't get it if they've never been that big. You don't understand what that feels like. It's like you're stuck, or like your brain is just like on this loop, like all the time. And part of being thin and part of no longer having those weight issues is that it gives an opportunity to break out of those loops. And the healthier I become physically, the easier it is and the deeper I can go, which is why I've done a lot of spiritual work, because I'm able to. I couldn't do these things before because my brain was so fixed. And a lot of what I had to work on in previous years, it had to do with weight management and the toxic ritualistic recovery, and it was very focused on that one issue. Now I can focus on many different issues at the same time, and everything can change all the time. And it is a completely different brain state to be in. So when I tell you weight normalization is a part of toxic ritualistic recovery, I mean it. Your brain has to have a normal weighted body in order to function correctly. And that goes either way. Again, good luck doing any work on certain emotional things if you're super numb on the reductive side. It's kind of hard to do emotional work if you don't feel anything. But by the same token, on the bigger side, it's hard to be logical if you can't think clearly. If you're basically never completely sober because of the state of your body. So you can't be rational. It's really interesting to consider, to think about, but it's just not obvious to most people, so they don't see it. But yeah, these people are mentally ill.
Like I do go out of my way to overcompensate for, because it is, I don't know what it is in me that feels like I have to show you that, like, bitch, I'm raw as fuck, and it doesn't matter what size I am, but especially because I'm fat and I'm doing this shit, I'm defying gravity by doing this shit I'm doing. So, you know, gravity. Come Sorry. On. Bye, Cynthia Erivo. Like, okay.
I just want to argue, it's definitely, you're more defying gravity by getting out of the toxic ritualistic, by weight normalizing. That is much more of a worthwhile rebellious act than staying in it and trying to change the world to accept it.
Listen, I'm not the celebrity of my family. That's Simone. I'm not the singer.
I really wish we could like lift you up on fucking a line right now. You know how she be flying in the air and shit?
I look like
SpongeBob. When he's just like spitting. I love SpongeBob so much. That is funny as shit.
Oh shit.
But yeah, I be like, I have to prove myself to y'all because y'all bitch ass niggas be thinking me ain't shit, but bitch, I'm about something, ho. I'm definitely lit right now. I'm so lit. Have you ever laughed along with a joke centered around fat people and or said a joke?
I don't think I've ever said a joke about fat people.
I've made myself the brunt of a joke more than anything else, I would say, personally.
Yeah, maybe that. I will say that me and my cousin Alex, we made up a song about our dads. Both of our dads are plus size men. And at the time, they were like way bigger than what they are now. And we had my cousin Mikey, he was also big. And I remember we came up, you know how you and your cousins used to come up with shit in a bedroom and then come perform? Mm-hmm. So this is what we performed. We came back, we said, there's fat niggas on the couch. There's fat niggas on the couch. And one is in the chair. And Raymond don't count. And Raymond is my skinny cousin. So we like performed this. When I tell you, my dad and my uncle they were like aghast. They were like, they
I was like, take these motherfucking kids back. Fuck these kids. Fuck these motherfucking kids.
And like, I grew up like.
That's funny as shit though.
I have a South Park, Dave Chappelle type
unapologetic humor.
Yeah, so like some fat jokes be funny, some don't be funny.
I think it depends.
Some fat
on where
jokes be funny, like
from.
that.
I'm happy you bringing it up because that's exactly where I want to go.
That shit wasn't funny. That shit was whack, just like you
Yeah.
know. But that, like, I feel like there's some shit that is fucking funny.
I think if it's funny, it's funny. But I also think it's who's saying the joke, right? Like we talk about like Cat Williams, right? That's somebody that's everybody like everybody's getting it. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
Everybody catching a stray. So I think that it's like if you're building your entire comedic career off of the backs of fat people, I probably don't think you funny for real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But also in terms of like how I interact with the public, I'm a funny ass person, and I know for a fact you are funny as fuck. You are, and I'm really tired of that narrative that you be pushing that you're not. But I know that in the past, especially when I was like middle school, younger, like I definitely would make myself like the passive bruh of the joke. Like I would kind of like make light of a situation to like again make other people feel comfortable being around me. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you, like, in terms of, if it's funny, it's funny. But if it's not, like, it's the heart behind it. Like, I think we talked about in a prior episode, the easy shit.
Well, it's hard. Humor's subjective. And I do think it's interesting that she said, like, it depends on who says it. So that's interesting. It's a little bit of that TR zombie world where you really, really judge people based on their size extremely. And almost more than anything. And people are like, what? And it's like, yeah, more than anything else. And people don't understand that. If you've never been in the problem, like when you are within the TR, that is like the caste system in your brain. That is like the ultimate dividing factor in society. Which sounds insane because it is. But, I mean, you can see just, like, how they act. The whole activism is surrounded, like, it's surrounding fatness, right? And so when she said it depends on who says it, I know that means, like, if it's a thin person, then it's different or it has a different connotation or, you know. You judge what somebody says based on their current size of the moment, which is super interesting. And being outside of the TR, it's like I hardly ever even think about it, like, honestly. And people are probably shocked, but I really don't. Like, I think the most I thought about other people's sizes was probably when I was mid, but it was because I was trying to figure out where I was. And it was like kind of socially distressing. It was weird. So and when you are going through like a social shift like that, which there's very rare occasions where you can shift that much on a social level, you do constantly compare because you're looking at where did I come from? Where am I going? Where do I stand currently? And people take like their social standing for granted a lot of the time. But when it was changing like that, it's really weird. So it puts a lot of pressure on you to compare and to look and all that kind of stuff. So that was probably when I did it the most. But I don't care anymore. So I don't even really think about it that much at this point. Like sometimes I look at it, like when I'm in public, I look at how big people are, but it's more like from like a sociological perspective or something. It's like there's very little emotion in it. It's very like I'm just looking to see what's going on. It's like a temperature check on society kind of thing, but it's literally like my work. So it's not personal or emotional at all.
and the Summerella video, which were like maybe a few weeks apart.
Right.
I'm not gonna say I was a huge fan of the Summerella video, but I didn't take offense to it in the ways that I took offense to Easy's video.
Yeah.
Easy's video was fatphobic as fucking, like, literally made me cringe. Where Summerella's video, I just thought that was funny.
And it's more relatable because everybody
Yeah.
deals with food noise and wanting to eat.
She wasn't trying to pick at she wasn't trying to, like, pick at fat people.
Not at all.
She was trying to say, like, nigga, when I be getting this DoorDash, I be feeling like a big back ass bitch, which I feel that. Like,
Yeah.
I think anybody that orders DoorDash at 4 o'clock in the morning, drunk as
Yeah.
fuck, probably feel that.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're talking about it in like a humorous way, but not like trying to be like systematically fucked up, like easy shit. Because I don't think we talked about it as much on the podcast as we did in the Fed Up. Now that I think about it, which this is like a few months ago now at this point. But we can also, I'll send a few clips of this too, so we can put that on the episode. 'Cause I know I have some of that left. Because I'm pretty sure she deleted the video, if I'm not mistaken. But I recorded some of it for my TikTok video that I put online, and she purposely took stereotypes. Like that's what it is. It's the stereotyping.
And also, it wasn't just a stereotype. It was, you were picking on a particular person. I don't give a fuck what the fuck you're saying,
person.
what the fuck you're talking about. That was not about fat people in general. That was about one fucking person that
Like, girl,
didn't do nothing to you.
You took a picture of Samira Teal, makeup artist, and said, "Can you recreate
you
this?"
fucking weirdo. That shit was mad.
And also,
weird.
it was
as much as it was cringy because it was just bad and it was a bad joke and it was a bad fat suit.
I mean,
it
she
was
literally
just bad.
had big girls matter on a t-shirt.
It literally
like,
was just cringy because you was coming at somebody unprovoked, and that shit was weird.
and you were coming at somebody
That shit was so weird. Bitch, you're weird.
You basically were chastising them for fighting for rights.
Yeah.
We're like, when I think of a joke, you talking about some funny ass shit.
Yeah, you gay ass bitch. Don't you need some rights too, ho? Shut the fuck up on my motherfucking face.
But I also think,
That's a little clicker-ish. Stage 3 zombie, perhaps? But I will just say, which means somebody who's severe, so maybe they both are. But yeah, as far as the making fun of Samira or whatever, like, this goes back to that toxic ritualistic thing. We belong in the fat herd. So you have to think, I call it the fat herd. So when you are becoming mid-sized, you're leaving the fat herd, and it upsets a lot of people. It's kind of like, it's one of the most triggering things because it undermines the whole, like, disordered mindset that basically weight is immutable and that it can never change and that kind of stuff. That's basically the bedrock of the belief system. So when you do that, it's so upsetting to people. But that's because they believe in the fat herd. So if you're fat, then you're one of us kind of thing. And so if you attack one, you attack all. Because especially at a clicker level of severity, so somebody who's severely in the TR, who highly identifies with their body size, you know, they're like 50% a fat person and then 50% themselves. It's a huge part of their identity. When you attack somebody like Samira, then they feel that you're attacking them at the same time. And that's also very zombie because it is kind of like a horde, you know, because you can't just criticize Samira. If you criticize Samira, then you're criticizing every single fat person. So then they have to stick up for every single fat person. You get me? It's a lot.
like, in terms of fat comedy, like, controversial take, I think Respucia was funny.
But I think, like, their version of what fat comedy is okay is anything that doesn't directly challenge what you're doing. So nothing that alludes to downsizing, nothing that alludes to drastically shifting dieting habits, or nothing that relates to the behaviors involved with the TR. As long as you don't touch that, then it's still funny. That's my opinion.
Fuck, I think Norbit is a hilarious movie, and
Absolutely.
I honestly think that there are some fat people.
It's a black classic.
It is.
In this
I do
house.
think that some people will agree with that, but I also know that there's some people in our fat community that will be like, that shit was ignorant as fuck. And I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying it was not an ignorant film, but I do
You ain't laughed once.
But I do think in terms of the comedic aspect, they let Respucia was a well-rounded person. She low-key was a bad bitch.
She was getting fucked on.
She was getting fucked on. She was cheating on her nigga with a fitness nigga. You know what I'm saying? She well-fed. Another nigga was paying her bills for her.
It was not twins, it was gas, my nigga. That shit was funny as fuck, bitch. Fuck you if you ain't laugh. I'm sorry.
The water slide shit.
Yeah,
like
see a bitch go down the slide.
It just
what the fuck?
Like she very much.
When he tried to stop her and was like, the weight limit, she said, I'm 150. Like, bitch, the fuck.
Like, and honestly, for years, I had on my license plate that I was also 150. Bitch. Like, that's why that shit is funny because it's a relatable aspect. And also, like, in that film, they actually hired a fat woman to portray Norbit. Like, that wasn't a fat suit. That was an actual fat woman.
Because the Nutty Professor, that was a fat suit.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say, like, you know, fuck fat suits and all the things, but I can honestly give credit to the fact that they at least hired an actual fat person to portray that person. And it's not like they made her this, like, minimized, small-ass person that was just, like, getting beat up by the world. Sis had personality. Yeah. I'm not mad at that. Yeah. I can laugh at that. Because there were certain moments in that were funny. It's her getting in the car. Yeah. Bitch, I also get in the car like that sometimes. I'm like, shit, let me get this motherfucking chair back, nigga. Like, that shit is funny. Let me not knock my cake over. Too much cake back here, bitch.
I think
got it.
Yeah, so like I said, I think it's anything that wouldn't directly challenge the belief system of the toxic ritualistic, then it's okay. So, which, I mean, I get it, but it's also a lot of times people that are very deep in it, in the toxic ritualistic, or, you know, they're very big, they're on that side of the spectrum, they want fat people in media to only ever be portrayed positively or from a more dominant perspective, or from, like she said, like having a big personality, or there's so many people interested in them, or anything like that. So I think it becomes more of like a wish fulfillment type of thing, which I covered that video where they talked about like fat characters in media, and I think what characters they found to be okay and what characters they didn't was interesting. But I think, especially within bingo, so that perspective, a part of bingo, which if you want to know what that is, replace the O with an E. A part of that is controlled failure and controlled pain. And so you're often living your life in a way that is extremely self-sabotaging because you're trying to create the pain before it just happens to you, because it's about control. And so again, that's why I don't really love the addiction narrative, because it ignores the pain aspect, because addiction is framed around pleasure, which I understand that once you're fully in it, then it's no longer about that, blah, blah, blah. I get that, but it's still different. This starts out about the pain. It starts out about that aspect. Like, it's the root of it. So people they will lie and say it's about the pleasure, but it's actually about that, because it's a way of controlling that so that you feel like it doesn't hurt as bad because you controlled it. You see? And it's also about wanting to cut out all spontaneity. So I don't want to have a sudden failure. I want to have a failure that I see coming, you see? So I'll create it. So I think within media, they like to see fat characters succeed or win or, you know, dominate a situation, because they are often suppressing those instincts within themselves all the time in order to keep the DIS order going. So it's interesting, but I would just say turn off the TV and go be a victor in your own life, you know, and then maybe it won't matter as much. But again, they would hate that because it's challenging the issue, and they would never want the issue to be challenged.
Safe cake is secured.
Which the reason why they don't want it to be challenged is because they don't want it to change, or they don't want to have to get out of it. So everything goes back to, I don't want it to end. I don't want to get out of it. I don't want to get out of it.
Like, she didn't only just point out a fat person. She pointed out the fat phobic society in a way that lessened our experience.
Yeah.
And that was
It made
wild.
yeah.
I don't think Norbit
Yep.
does that. I don't
No.
think Norbit lessens the fat experience at all. If anything, I feel like it kind of normalized Rasputia as a regular ass person. Like, I know
Yeah.
fat people like that. Like, I could be like that sometimes as a fat person my damn self.
Yeah, she was just a little aggressive, and I think that's
Yeah.
more of a
Which,
black
like,
woman thing than
as-
a fat black
and
woman
as
thing.
a
You know what I mean?
But as a fat black woman that
And then they made the bitch light skin, a little skinny hoe light skin. You know, so it was
but
more
like
of a.
but let's be for real. If Rasputia was a smaller person, would the way she conducted herself be seen as aggressive or as like I'm not saying she wouldn't have been aggressive, but I think that it would have been
know.
excused a little bit more is all I'm saying.
She was like beating on Norbit.
She was, but I do think as like there are smaller people that do that type of shit, and even if it's still wrong, they're not. Even if they're seen as aggressive, I think it's excused more than a fat person doing it. Where like she still was a fat.
I disagree with that completely. I think it's the opposite. I think that when people are bigger, it's seen as more okay in a way because it's like there is a little bit, especially in society and within the zombie horde and a lot of level 1 zombies, so runners, so people that don't actually have the issue but are overly sympathetic. There's a little bit of an infantilization of very fat people. So it's like you expect so much less that it's okay. Whereas if somebody's thin, you treat them as normal. So it's not okay at all. Like everything gets framed in a totally different light. And so I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think it's actually the opposite. Like I do not think Amberlynn Reed would have gotten anywhere near as far as she has if she wasn't big. And people don't want to hear that because they don't want to admit that there are privileges to being huge. Because the whole DIS order is centered around victimhood, especially bingo. So you can't look at Amberlynn Reed as privileged, even though she is. She gets away with so many things. So many things. And it's because of her size. And if she was a normal size, she wouldn't get away with anything. She just wouldn't. So I completely disagree. I completely disagree with that.
That person, and also the trope in which they played with her like romantic life in the first place was such a stereotypic, like, you know, like it's always a skinny nigga with a big bitch, like it played off on that, but it didn't make her. It wasn't like Sheila from like Why Did I Get Married? You know what I'm saying?
That was sad.
That if we want to talk about like fucked up aspects of it, like that. If Norbit was like that, I could understand why it would reach scrutiny because I didn't really love the way that Tyler Perry wrote Sheila.
Norbit still loved Rasputia. He just loved Kate a little bit more. That was his love. They gave each other ring pops.
If Rasputia wasn't beating that ass,
he
might have been into it.
I mean, they was breaking that bed.
Yeah.
Baby. Why do you think society expects fat people to be ashamed of their bodies?
I think it's because we're trained that fat people should not exist. So I think
well, in America today, that's not even the case at all. I think in the past, I'd have to literally think about it from like 20 years ago to even begin to answer this. But I think it's just seen as a negative thing. It's seen like smoking. So that's basically how it's seen. So people get very rebellious about it, or they're like, you're not going to tell me what to do, that kind of attitude. But it's not really ever seen as a good thing by most people. And so some people will say like, oh, I don't want you to feel ashamed of smoking or whatever. But other people will be like, I think it's really gross that you're smoking, right? It's the same thing with weight. So it is unhealthy. It is not good. And I don't know that everybody expects you to be ashamed of it, but it's not like a beneficial thing that people are going to be like really excited about, which I feel like that's, if they don't have people clapping for them, then they want you to be ashamed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think most of the time it's very neutral. or like ignored. And then if it is brought up, it's usually in a negative light. But how often does that even happen? Especially outside of a family situation. And especially today. It's just not that common.
Because we do exist, there's this idea that we should automatically not feel comfortable within ourselves, that we should feel the same sense of disapproval and distaste that they do off of their own biases just for existing. And I almost think in those conversations it's kind of like it pisses them off when you don't feel that way, because they're trying to like compute in their brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have the total opposite in the US now. I told you, class 1 obesity is celebrated, and you are pressured to stay class 1 obese or to become class 1 obese in the United States. So we have a complete opposite incentive socially in the US, which is never acknowledged at all. The only people typically that are pressured to be thin are people who are already thin. So there's a pressure to keep it. But once you've lost it, once you're upsized, there is not very much of a pressure at all. And there's actually a lot of people that are against you getting out of obesity. So that's where we're at in the US. So from their perspective, they probably don't see that because they're beyond class 1 obese. So they would still face some pressures to downsize at their size. But yeah, like, it's a lot in the US. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of wild.
Like, how could you at your size and the way you look and this level of, like, you know, disgust that they have be this happy in yourself? Like, it's funny watching that clock kind of wind in their brain. But I definitely think that's why. It's like you don't think I deserve to, because you just cannot fathom someone being fat and, like, loving themselves, because you couldn't be loving of yourself if you were fat.
You don't think I deserve to because you don't even think I should exist.
No.
So if you don't think that I should exist and live life, you definitely don't think I should exist.
So I really don't think, I think there's hardly anybody that looks at a fat person and is like, you shouldn't exist. I think I think the most you're going to get is probably somebody looking and being like, ew. And that's about it. I don't think it's any deeper than that, basically. If they even think that, you know, because a lot of times they just won't look at you, period. So I think most people, they're just like, you know, they just literally, it's like they ignore you completely. But it's not that deep of like, you shouldn't exist. Typically people who are conversing about it, who are talking about it, who are engaging with it, they're trying to help, or they want to help motivate to change, or they're trying to help motivate people who are changing, which that's more like what this channel is. And that's what a lot of like fitness influencers and stuff, or they're trying to do a business. So they're trying to have a coaching business, that kind of thing. So it might be for money too. But your average person that is not engaged in any of that, they're either going to think nothing or they'll think, ew. Or if they're like into somebody who's really big, they'll be like, ooh, you know, depending on their tastes. And that's it. So it's like, ooh, you know, or, ugh. And that's about it. I don't think it's that passionate to be like, I don't think you should exist. I think somebody who actually would feel that way would have an extreme toxic ritualistic issue themselves. It would be somebody who's deep in it themselves.
Freely and be happy and be content and be comfortable while doing it. You want me to be as uncomfortable with my existence as you are.
It's wild. They almost treat like being fat is almost like a fucked up
it's a moral failure. Yeah, they see it as
it's like smoking.
It's a moral failure.
It's like I'm not an abuser. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not anyone that's like putting anyone in harm's way.
Yeah.
So like why should I think less of myself? Like
you're putting yourself in harm's way.
It's like how like you're fat, like clearly, like it's just like I just don't understand how people give a fuck that much.
Well, you guys are on a different level because you're like advocating for other people to be bigger. So you are actively harming others. And that needs to be very clear. And that's why I'm commenting on you. And that's why I'm covering this podcast. So you absolutely are harming other people because you're encouraging them to get worse or stay in the issue. And we have to be real about that. Promoting fat acceptance is promoting death. It's promoting people to go down a cliff into an early grave. So it's no longer just your issue alone. You have externalized it to a certain extent. So no, you are harming people. Absolutely. Absolutely, you are. So no, that doesn't apply to you.
I really don't. And I really wish I could, because it would maybe help this conversation to go by smoother. But it's just like, I don't think I look at people with that lens of you're different than me, so you should clearly hate yourself, because I don't give a fuck. Because I also don't think I feel, you know, so confined to societal's norms and what they expect from me in the first place.
Yeah, because who gives a fuck about society? Y'all give a fuck too much. I do want to say something. Say something that actually like changed my brain chemistry as a kid, like growing up. And this had to do about sexual orientation and not being fat, but I think the sentiment remains the same. Caring about somebody else's sexual orientation, what somebody has between their legs, somebody being fat, is like walking into a Subway and the person in front of you ordering their sandwich and you being pissed about them ordering their sandwich because it's not yours.
And it's their sandwich.
What the fuck does that have to do with you?
Yeah, it's like, that's, again, I don't understand. Like,
my body is not your business.
When you don't even sleep with this body.
So I think that they're suffering from the issue of not seeing fat acceptance as a whole, because there are a lot of people that actively promote obesity, that actively shame downsizing, that actively will cancel you or pronounce you dead because you have now started to downsize. There's a lot of that. So I don't know if they just don't see that because they're not living it. But I guarantee you both, if you both started to downsize, you would see it immediately. And then you'd see why people are upset. Because it's not like that. It's more like a CULT. That's what it's like. The fat herd does not want to lose you. And they will fight for you. That's a reality. Again, I was just talking about this on a live, but it's very similar to alcoholism. It's the same neural pathways, same hormonal pathways. If you leave, you are an outcast. It's the same thing. So it's not just that. And I do resent sexuality being compared to a DIS order. I resent it being compared to a metabolic issue. I absolutely resent it being compared to something like smoking. So, no. No. Because that's basically what you're doing.
You don't have to get up and have to deal with the struggles that this body inquires. You don't have the supposed health issues that you think I have. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, why do you give a fuck so much because it's not fitting into the image that you have of a stranger?
Yeah, and that's weird. That is like,
it's like, I'm not.
It's like delusional thinking.
You.
It's kind of like you're not all the way here with reality to give a fuck that much
it's
about
almost like you
anything else.
You know, like the episode of SpongeBob where they're all like the normies, like the normie town. Mm-hmm. I think people really,
and they look crazy as hell.
Y'all like when your government tells you what to do and what to look like and how to dress and what to eat and all the things.
You like when your DIS order tells you what to do, because let's not act like having this issue is freedom. It's not. It's the complete opposite. So you're projecting. That's a projection. True freedom is not living in a DIS. It's not living in a mental illness like this. One that you're choosing actively. That's true freedom. True freedom is actually recovery. Not encouraging other people to stay in it. That's not freedom. True freedom is your weight no longer being a problem. Me never having to consider something like fat noise. I never have to consider if I'll fit in a booth or something like that. I don't have to be bothered with that anymore. And that's just externally. And they'd say, well, that's society. No, true freedom is me not having to worry about sleep apnea. It's me not having to worry about if I fall, I know I'll be able to get back up, or somebody else will be able to help me get up easier. You know, there are physical limitations to being bigger. True freedom is being able to walk up a hill without being out of breath. And again, this is a choice. Because then I could hear them thinking, oh, well, that's ableist and da-da-da-da-da. But you're choosing to not have the ability. Do you see how that's different? Because you don't get to co-opt a disabled person's struggle either. You're choosing that. That is a choice. Do you see how it's different?
Do because it offends you when someone doesn't fit that status quo.
Well, that's because that's okay. So
Y'all don't have a fucking brain.
I didn't think that race was gonna come up in this episode. I really didn't, but of course
Have
it
you never
has
watched
to.
our podcast?
But you bringing that up, it just like white supremacy isn't only just like us. They suppress you guys by keeping you guys cookie cutter, boxed in, having this. You guys can't have personalities. You guys can't. So that's why.
Again, I take it back to the TR. You're not allowed to have a personality within that. You're not allowed to, like, everything is, especially at severe levels, everything is oriented around it. Every single thing. You can't even have a belief outside of it because everything has to circle back to fatness or to food or to these things. Every single thing. And people don't believe that. But at severe levels, it is everything. Everything. That is not freedom. That is cookie cutter. You all sound exactly the same. I've been covering people on this channel for years. Do you know how often people say the exact same things over and over and over again? Same arguments, same thought processes, same loops. And the most fascinating thing about the toxic ritualistic is it can be so completely typical to the point where it's almost robotic, and it can be compared to zombie behavior because it is always the same. But every single zombie believes that they are completely original and that how they feel and their experience has never been felt or seen before. It is the weirdest paradox within, when it's like your actual individuality is outside of that. It's not within it. So what makes you special is not the toxic ritualistic. That makes you the same as every other zombie. Every other zombie thinks the exact same things. Maybe there's a slightly different wording, slightly different thing, but it's the same. It's the same. You think that most people in bingo don't think of it as a form of rebellion, because I can assure you every single person within bingo thinks of it as a rebellion. That's one of the biggest toxic ritualistic drives within it, is a feeling of being a rebel, doing what you shouldn't be doing. That is so common. Like, can we just come on? Come on. You really think that that's only your feeling? Or that you're radical or different for thinking that? No. It's extremely common. Playing bingo as an act of rebellion is one of the most basic takes within the TR world. It is one of the most basic things. It is like rudimentary. Every single person with that issue feels exactly the same way. So just stop.
You guys see loud people, just people. We're loud, opinionated. We say what we want. We say how we feel. We express ourselves with emotion. We do not let what other people think dictate how we run our show. And you guys do, because that's what you guys were trained to do. It's almost a submission. They need you guys to submit and feel like you guys are superior at the same time. Submission and superiority, you guys aren't. You
That's
guys
the TR. It's a projection. It's the same thing. Happens within bingo all the time. I'm a better person because I'm big. I'm deeper because I'm big. I have more of a moral standing because I'm big. I'm protected from the bad people because I'm big. It's the same thing. You hear it all the time.
Also need to fight back against white supremacy because you guys don't look like you're having a good time. I remember
I have more fun than you. That's a lie. They don't. That one isn't even just the TR. That's a lot of different issues. Act like they're having more fun than you. That one's making me think of alcohol too. We have more fun than you. This is not original. I'm sorry, it's not.
Deontay said that on his podcast on Grissom. White people do not look like they're having a good time, and they don't, and that's why y'all are so fucking miserable, because only miserable people give a fuck that much about what other people are doing. You ain't got no fucking business, bitch.
Your whole podcast is about people on Ozempic, though. There's a lack of self-awareness. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't care what other people are doing. I'm not saying that. I'm an activist, so clearly I do. But you can't really be an activist and say that. It's just kind of a fail. Because the whole job is caring about what other people are doing. If you don't, then why would you talk? Why would you say anything? It's just, I don't know. It's just a flop take. It's just flop.
Go get you some.
So I was looking up recently because
I'm going to just go ahead and stop it here. So I will get back to this later. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. Bye.